All right, me, you ready? Are you sure about that? Okay, let's do this. Okay, so hello, happy Friday, everybody. This is the last one of the week for us. So I'm gonna use the same mannequin that I did yesterday. I'm gonna alter it even more, go into a different look. Before I start working on a new mannequin, I feel like I should get the most out of this one. So yesterday what I did is I turned a typical shag haircut into a layered bob, and I layered from the back all the way through to the front, and that gave me a really cool little layered bob shape. Not the traditional way I would go about it, but anyway. So on this one, what I'd like to do is I'm going to do something very similar through the front here that I've already done. I'm just going to take it shorter. So a round concave layer through that area. I'm going to leave this out for now. And I'm actually going to graduate this underneath. And probably have a disconnect over the top of it. So just transforming it into a little graduated layered number. All right, memes. Ready? Mm-hmm. Cool. Where you look?
Ooh. I'm gonna eat it later.
Yeah, you'd eat that later, not now. All right. There you go.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm going to spin it around so that the light's going to shine better over from the window. So come over here, babe.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, like I said, I'm going to take the mannequin that I did yesterday. I did that layered, or bob with layers on that shag shape. So now what I want to do is I want to transform it even more. So now we're going a little bit shorter. So I'm going to graduate this underneath area to begin with. So that's where we're going to start. I'm just going to bring her up a little bit. And what I will do is I'll just kind of start with an outline. So I'm going to just take a segment of the underneath on both sides. What are you doing?
Dancing.
What was that? Watch the video. Dance later. So, just taking a horizontal, diagonal section towards the front. And I've made that section about that thick. See, by me pulling this down and cutting whatever outline length I want in there, I can then use it as a guide to continue that build-up of weight. Because if I pull this and this down, that makes this longer than this. So I will actually use the first 1 length section as a guide to create graduation. So let's get started. I'm standing directly behind the mannequin to begin with. I can hear your stomach. And I'm just going to put the length in. I could have gone straight into the interior, but I like the idea of using this one length method as a guide. I've been doing it for many years. A lot of you guys probably see me do it from the front towards the back and then graduate that way. So this is going to be a little different. So I'm just looking at where that length is. I can go shorter. And I'll do the same on this side. So I've stood directly in the centre back. I'm not moving. You're gonna be alright. Maybe you should eat that egg. So just having a look at that as it's in its natural fall. Come take a pic. Come to this angle so they can see it. I'll take a picture of it. So you guys, you can see that curved aspect. I want it to get heavier towards the front, so that's going to be where we start off. So now look at this. When I cross-check, or if I come through and look at this with elevation, I can start to see that I've actually started to build some weight there, haven't I? So I can use that as a guideline to cut the interior now, which is what I'm going to do. So vertical section. How's everyone doing on this Friday? So I could take anywhere I want of that underneath, and I'm going to build weight from there. Working on the inside of my fingers, because I'll always have that tendency to pull the hair down if I need to. In this case, it's nothing to do with elevation really, I'm just pulling straight out. It's my finger angle that's creating this graduation. All the way in. So continuing. Now my over direction is going to be straight back. Not into the first section, but kind of very consistent with what I do with over direction is to pull it straight back to the wall behind the mannequin. Then I'm going to get a really nice flow of weight from back to front. If I bring everything to the middle, it's going to be a little too aggressive, that drop off.
Can you talk about tension and finger position?
So my finger position right now is what's actually creating this build-up of weight. So what you're seeing happening this way, that's my fingers that are doing that. So in this instance, I'm working on the inside of my fingers. And I'm also working against the head shape. So if you see the head shapes there, my fingers go that way. So it actually creates this V. It works against the head shape. My tension is determined by the density and texture of the hair that I'm working on. So that's what makes it either a lot of tension or not so much tension.
Any suggestions on how to cut the nape area on a real client with such limited space?
You can tilt the head if you wish to. See, once I move the head, then that opens up this whole area so the shoulder wouldn't really get in the way. And this side's the more easier side as far as coming in because you're actually cutting from the top down. It's when you go to the other side that it can get tricky because you're working from the bottom up. See, now that I tilt the head though, I have to make sure that I'm actually tilted with my fingers as well and I'm still pulling the hair straight back to that wall behind the mannequin. So as much as possible, I tend to work with the head in an upright position. But when you are working graduations, then yes, there are instances where you probably need to tilt the head and stuff.
I notice you don't put much tension on your thumb when cutting.
On my thumb? Let's just say the thumb isn't used. So it's all in here.
How does hair density determine tension?
Well, obviously, the more hair you have, then you have to be more consistent with the tension. So you might not need to pull on that hair so much. Same with fine hair. You have to gauge it. What it is, guys, is it's not one specific thing for just uniform everything. It's determined by looking at roots to ends. So it's also determined by, let's say, how much skin and pull the skin has, how much it moves. So let's say, for example, you're working on curly hair, then you're going to have to use a lot more tension on that. Whereas straighter hair, you don't have to use as much tension.
The thumb question was, they meant like the cutting thumb.
This thumb?
Yeah.
I definitely do put tension on it, but my thumb doesn't go through the hole. If you put the thumb through the hole, then you're not really using it correctly. You're then going to do this. See, if I put my thumb through, then I only have one position to hold the scissor. It's very difficult for me to move it around, and then it becomes my wrist that does that. But if I move the thumb and I put it in the edge, which is really where you're supposed to use it, remember, a lot of scissors come with those things that you put in there. That's to stop you putting your finger through the hole. And so what happens is, now that I can do that, the leverage I have to move the scissor into different positions is so much easier, and I don't move the wrist. Again, if you're going to use this instrument, you've got to learn to play it. So there's a lot of intricacies to it. So just looking at that, obviously that's not part of the outline yet. I'll put that in afterwards.
Traveling guide or flat plane?
It's travelling until the round of the head, right? And then everything is going straight back. So if you've been watching me lately, that's generally an over direction that I like to use, because I know that the flow of weight from back to front is quite complementary. Now I'm coming in and I'm just cross-checking, and I've actually noticed that I've used too much over direction. It's too heavy for me. So I'm going to come back through, and I'm just going to kind of check through and make sure that I'm not using too much over direction. What kind of probably throws me off a little bit is when I tilt the head and stuff like that. So I'm going to keep the head in an upright position and have another look through that. So I'm going to go to section number 2. And I'm going to make sure that I pull that straight back. And I can see immediately that I was using a little bit too much over direction. It's so tranquil here right now. It's been raining non-stop for the last day. So all I can hear is water and dripping, birds tweeting.
Like that one in my room, which has an Instagram now. Angel has an Instagram.
Yes, so if you're into watching and looking at animal Instagram pages, you can follow Angel the Cockatiel.
It's Angel dot the Cockatiel.
And there's also Buddy the Sausage, right? What's his?
Buddy the _ sausage.
Yeah. So again, you can see that amount of over direction I was using. So having to come back through and just knock that off. What I didn't want to do is knock that off with the cross check, because then I'll achieve a different form of graduation than if I work through vertically.
Oh, and my name is me. Someone said, forgive me, I don't know your daughter's name, but are you wanting to do hair as well? Yeah, I think it would be fun. And then someone said, did you get a haircut? Me, no, I didn't get one yesterday. We didn't do it.
That's right, we're supposed to do that today, weren't we, as well?
Mm-hmm. Did you bring your stuff?
Of
course you forgot it.
Well, we're not filming tomorrow, so I can do it tomorrow.
Okay. I mean, it's not like we have to do it now.
No.
It's not like we have a limited amount of time.
We've got some time. But you've got some hair here too. Not easy to cut.
Greetings from Romania.
Hey, you guys from Romania. Do you know where Romania is? Mia?
No.
It's in Europe. All right, so I'm much happier with that flow of weight now moving through to the front. So now we'll do the other side, but I'm going to turn her around so that we can see it better. How's everybody doing? You alright? So after this, you should go to Gerard Scarpace's page. He's doing his talking shit podcast that we did. We did it last week. A lot of results soon, guys. They used to work together. We all got together last week and did a little vodcast talking about whatever. So now working on this side. So the tricky thing now is obviously coming into this area. So the longer the scissor, it's not like the best idea for you, you know what I mean? So these are the scissors I'm using. I didn't bring another pair that's smaller. So how I hold the scissors, just like I showed you guys, is going to be very important here. If I put my thumb through the hole, it's very hard for me to get the angle that I need. And I'd have to be like all the way down here to do that with my body.
That's awkward.
So it not only is it awkward, it doesn't feel like I'm in control.
And
it looks stupid.
It's
right?
like not easy to.
Yeah. So by me moving the thumb out of the hole now, I actually can move the blade, the scissor, to match the cutting angle, and I don't have to contort my wrist. All right.
And then
How are we doing? Got any more questions?
good. Who wins table football? Foosball. Daddy wins foosball. I beat my mom though.
Right.
1-10.
So continuing that all the way in towards the nape, and again, not putting the thumb through the hole all the way, and that enables me to do that. This side I actually prefer because we're not in an awkward position. A lot of people don't like doing this because they think it's very different, but guys, it's actually the same as doing this. It just means now your fingertips are pointed down, and now you can actually just get in there. You don't have to do all this like movement to get in there, like playing Twister, you know what I mean? So we'll keep this going. Again, over directing straight back to the wall behind the mannequin. So my body position is very important. Basically, it's all controlled by my feet. What's up, you trying to get an angle?
I'm trying to get your body position. You read my mind. I just read the question about body position. Like, can you show your body position and then?
So again, body position on this side, so much more convenient for me. A lot of it, guys, this position, why you don't like it is just because you don't really do it. And if you understand why and how to get around it, then it becomes so much better. It's just like learning anything else. So I'm able to get all the way down there to the nape, whether there was shoulders or not, because the shoulder would be here, I can still get in there.
Just joined. Are you doing a graduated bob?
I'm doing, right now I'm working graduation on this underneath, yes. It's not going to be, well, I guess it'll be like a kind of tiny, cute little bob with graduation and layers. So I'm just doing a combination. It's actually inspired by a haircut from Vidal Sassoon that I always was really into when I was training and when I was actually worked there. It was called Stark, and I've always loved it. So I thought this mannequin would be a good transition for her from what we did yesterday.
Are your sections vertical?
Yes, my sections are vertical, slightly diagonal, forward.
Should client's head be parallel with chest, height-wise?
Yeah, so it's like this, guys. I don't want to be the elbow to be going too far above my shoulder to control it. So I want to try and keep it lower and level. So also I'm on the tall side, so it's better for me to get them up higher so that I can get in there instead of me trying to do all this stuff. But you always kind of want to be cutting in that chest region. See, then I know exactly where it's going to. because I'm in that zone. So I'm pulling straight back to that wall behind the mannequin. Fingertips pointed down and in so I can create graduation. If I follow the head shape, that's not graduation, that's just a layer. So it has to get shorter towards the bottom. It's graduation, it's a gradual build-up of weight, hence the name. So if you look at how I'm stood me, you see my left foot is where I'm pulling the hair to. So my right foot's over here, so that allows me to lean over and actually see. But because that foot's there, I'll pull the hair to it. So it's this opposite on the other side. It's this foot right here that I over direct to. So, pretty good. That's what I'm looking for. Just cross-check. And what I'm looking for is I pulled everything back to that wall, didn't I? So that's what I'm looking for in my cross-check.
We are California, San Diego, California.
You know, where are we?
San Diego, California.
Yeah.
And San Diego's where the salon is.
It's your Uncle Mark's birthday today.
Ooh.
56 years old.
Wow.
Crazy. That's my Uncle Mark, so.
My great
Yes.
uncle.
All right, so looking at that, I'm going to come and look at your view. So you can see the graduation in there now, guys. Just tuck that in. So now I'm going to go into this area. I'm happy with the underneath and how that's graduated. And now I'm going to work this area. What's up, babe? What am I looking at?
Off topic.
Oh, can we talk about Vidal?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, very fortunate to have worked at the Vidal Sassoon when Vidal was around. My time at Sassoon was late 94 until late 2002. And my first time I met Vidal was actually at a Vidal Sassoon commercial, like a TV commercial. And I was asked to be an extra while I was a student at the academy. And I met him in like one of those trailers. And it was kind of cool. So that was my first meeting of Vidal.
Like, his personality, was he like really nice?
He was a very, very amazing person. Super cool, super sweet. Very inspiring. One thing that we would always talk about wasn't really hair, it was football, soccer. But I was a massive Chelsea fan, and I'm a massive Manchester United fan. And those times it was like the mid to late 90s, early 2000s, Manchester United were dominant. So we would always have banter back and forth about who was better and blah, blah, blah. So yeah.
Someone said he pinched my cheek when I met him.
Cool. I mean, there's some great stories. I've seen him in some really funny moments too. Once saw him walk into a mirror. But yeah, anyway. So really happy with that underneath. My graduation's on point, and now I want to work into this area. So what I will do through here now is I'm going to work horizontal sections. Now, I've been talking about horizontal and vertical, and somebody was asking the question yesterday and you didn't ask it, so I saw it after, and I wanted to address it because I know it's fine, but I thought it was a really good question because when I was first taught to cut hair, I was taught like this very old school stuff that didn't always make the most perfect sense. So I was taught that this was vertical. Now, when you look at the head, this is the vertical part of the head shape all the way through. It's a vertical wall, basically. So looking up and down, that, my friends, is a vertical section. It is up and down. And vertical sections, what you do is when you use vertical sections to control what's happening horizontally, you over-direct backwards or forth, right? So if I do that, then that's going to happen, or that's going to happen, or that's going to happen, right? So this is vertical, and this is horizontal. It doesn't stop just because the head has a round, it keeps going through. That, my friends, is a horizontal distribution of weight. It's back and forth. So whatever I cut up here is what's down here. Now, the key point here is this is vertical in the back, but once you get that center of the crown, that's a whole different plane. So now this falls into the horizontal category, and this is vertical. A lot of people used to say horizontal because this looked like the horizon, but very quickly you'll learn that the horizon has absolutely nothing to do with your haircut. It's whatever's up and down and whatever's back and forth. So that's how I feel about sections.
And then this.
Are you looking
hair
at where
brain.
things are from?
Yes, hair brain.
Someone's asking about my water spray.
Yes, everybody does. Also, somebody said, tell your dad Steven Statland says hi in
What's
New Jersey.
up, my friend from
New
Jersey,
Jersey.
from Asbury Park? How you doing, pal? I hope you're safe and sound. And everybody else. So, now we're going to work through this. So, horizontal section. And I'm going to use this length that we've got at the front, and I'm going to cut following the head shape. Next section. So now, as I'm working with horizontal sections all the way down, I have to think about elevation. Can you stay still?
My neck.
Goodness me.
I need to crack it.
Okay, in a bit. So I'm going to lift straight up to the ceiling. I'm not going to push everything into number one because then it'll be too heavy, I feel, around this area. So I'm going to lift just to begin with straight up to the ceiling, and then we can see what that flow of weight is like from the top down. So what's happening here, guys, is I'm technically cutting a round line. I'm working shorter at the front and longer towards the back. Horizontal is shape, so therefore that's round. And my elevation is creating this flatness through here, so that's my concave layer. So if I elevate everything into number one, then my concave is much stronger. What's up, babe?
Your friend says, thank you. All good.
Good. So I can see I'm working that around the face. So again, everything is just going straight up to the ceiling. You can see that, right? Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm following the head shape. So I've reached the natural round of the head. I can just kind of condense that now and just pop that in. Let's have a look at that. I'm happy with that. Again, I'm probably adjust the length afterwards down in this area, but I'm happy with that flow of weight through. So what's difference between that and what I did on the shag is the shag haircut, I bring everything to number one. And so it just makes that concave, you look at me, a lot more aggressive. Where's this?
Elevation?
Yes, elevation is up to the ceiling. So you can see that.
Someone's calling me. Elevation.
So I'm just checking through, looking at that elevation up to the ceiling. So
That was probably Renee. Shout out to Renee, even though she's not watching this.
You're so silly. Love it.
Oh, shout
out to Renee, but she's not here.
Well, shout out to Jonah because he asked me when the live was.
Watching?
I don't know. And see.
So me's friends and know about these lives now because some of the moms follow me, especially Michelle's friends and stuff.
But also my friends follow you on Instagram.
Right.
All my friends.
So now let's move to the other side. I'm going to stand in the same position. Is everyone enjoying this, or is it just a waste of time?
I think
So straight up. So if I had a mirror, that would be awesome. That would be where you guys are right now. So I could see exactly where I'm elevating the hair to. I'm not going to move over to this side to do it because then I'll be cutting downhill. And a little bit more difficult to do that. And I might take that shorter and leave that longer then. So it's just understanding how the arm works and how it moves. And what you have to think about is basically the elbow and the shoulder, they're like hinges of a door and they swing. So you've got to figure out how that arm swings to control what you're doing. So continuing straight up to the ceiling.
so many bird noises.
You know, well, it's raining, isn't it? And it stopped raining, so now they're all like, "Hey, what's up?" Talking to their friends.
There was a bunch of birds. Like there was a crow, there was some hummingbirds, and there were some small birds that came right up to our window.
That's because angels.
Yeah, right up to
can hear her.
my bedroom window, and
They
on the
wanna
roof.
attack her.
They were like, no, they were all. I think they were all just curious
I bet.
that there was a bird because she makes noise.
There's a newbie in
Yeah.
town.
So-
So guys, everything's straight up to the ceiling. Continuing, I can just condense all this now.
It was so crazy. And then they did, you know how the birds do the dive thing?
Yeah.
From the roof to the canyon. It was crazy. And I was like, oh, well, they know Angel's here.
So looking at that, I can see everything was up to the ceiling. So happy with that.
Elevation.
Elevation. So what that's allowed me to do, guys, is it's taken out all the interior, but I've kept these exterior pieces around the edge. And obviously I'll play around with that afterwards. So now what we've got is, we've got this area through here. So I don't necessarily want to connect it too much into this, but I do want to connect through from the top. Clip there. Sorry. So let's do it. So there'll be a disconnect in the back area, guys. So next week when we come back, we're going to work on, obviously we're going to start with the longer hair, so we're going to work on some longer layering techniques. Just some alternate ones that I would probably use.
Quick recap.
Quick recap, yeah. So what we've done is, if you were watching yesterday, you saw me turn a shag into a layered bob. What we're doing today is we're taking that layered bob haircut. And what I've done is I've got these three panels. So look at this profile me. So I've got this part, and this part, right? And what I've done is I've graduated this underneath. And then what I've done is I've layered this top through and I've elevated everything up to the ceiling. So I've got opposing shapes basically. I've done a very similar thing. See, this is graduation, right? Short to long, and I pulled straight back. So this is the apex. The apex is just like the occipital. And what I've done is I've just basically graduated, but it's technically layers, short to long, right? And I've elevated or over-directed everything straight up to the ceiling. So I've done the exact same thing on two different areas. See, this is what I was telling you about the other week, was about understanding this and how they relate. This part of the head shape is just the same as this. So that's what you get. If you try and do a graduator bob in the front, you get a round concave lip.
And then again, someone said spray bottle, and it's harebrained.
It's from harebrained.
Well, it's from harebrained.
So it's lower. I like that.
I just sprayed you.
I was getting hot, so I missed. Thank you.
Miss.
All right, so moving into that this crown panel, right? So there's the front. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to take that and I'm going to point cut to a longer length. Not an aggressive angle, just slightly angled. And we're going to do that all the way through. We're going to lift everything up to the ceiling.
Brazil.
Hello, Brazil. You know who's in Brazil right now?
Who?
Marco.
Ooh. You know Bella?
Yeah, she's from Brazil.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I should tell her
Her
to
dad
join.
is, right?
Yeah, I should tell her to join the live next time and give her a shout.
We have quite an international community, don't we?
Yes.
So, you know about these haircuts, guys. If you have any requests, please feel free to ask if you want me to work on something and explain something a little bit more, go in depth with something. Just let me know.
And then Sophia from Mathnasium, she's also from Brazil. Her mom. I just remembered that, and she also usually joins the lives. So if you're on here, hello, Sophia. Yes, we save the lives.
Yeah, we save all the lives. Everything goes onto my IGTV the next day. So tomorrow I will post this haircut that you're watching right now, because we saved the video. The live is up there for 24 hours, so you can watch that until it expires.
Do you ever cut hair dry?
So I used to cut hair dry when I was a platform artist, when I cut hair on a platform. So during my time at Paul Mitchell, I would dry the hair, I would flat iron it, and then I would go out on stage and cut the haircut. And the reason for that is because I only have like 15, 20, 30 minutes to do a haircut. And it's very difficult for me to do the haircut, blow dry it, get it right, and then refine it within that time frame. So that's why I would cut dry hair. But it was also as a product company, and we were also promoting a product called smoothing. So it was all about blow drying the hair and getting the hair, so marketing as well. Same on the other side. I'm going to stay in the same position. I don't want to work downhill. You'll see a lot of people doing that, and really it's not the best position for you to be in, because you're working from the longest point down. You might cut that shorter, and the angle is so much better to move uphill than it is to move downhill. See, all I'll do now is basically I'll just dance along the fingers and open and close the blade. And I'll continue in the same manner. You can hear the birds.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's everybody been watching on Netflix? What should I watch? Because I've seen The Tiger King. I've watched Ozark. That was amazing.
Me and my mom.
What were you guys watching?
Okay, so last night we made popcorn. That's why the popcorn machine's out. And I melted butter. Like, I was, like, making it gourmet with, like, Himalayan salt, like, the pink salt. Like, I
With Himalayan salt.
Himalayan pink salt, and I got my iced tea.
So extra special.
And then when we went back upstairs.
They can see.
Yes, they can see.
Sure
they can definitely see. They can extremely see.
Is she all over the place or what?
They can see so much. There's so much seeing here. So much sight.
So much visual.
Yeah. We went up. Angel happened. She never flies out, but she as much as she used to. She flew out, and then she flew on the bed. And she watched the movie with us, and we had her perch on the bed, and we were watching 13 Reasons Why, eating popcorn. And she had a bunch of treats last night, too.
13 Reasons Why, is that depressing school thing?
Yes.
Yeah. So straight up to the ceiling, guys, and I'm using the points of the scissors to get a little bit more space. I was mentioning the influence behind this haircut. It's a Sassoon haircut, or Vidal Sassoon. It's called Stark, and it was done in the early 90s. And back then, grunge was very popular, so Sassoon people were actually doing all the precisionness that they would do with sectioning, but having a more TG feel to how they cut the edges, so a lot more texture involved in the haircut. So that's the finished shape for now. And so what I want to do is I actually want to just start to let this do its thing and kind of dry a bit on its own. I'm going to use a little bit of super comb here.
So, oh yeah, I forgot to say, and every single day, like during the day, I watch Scooby-Doo, all of the seasons of Scooby-Doo, because I love Scooby-Doo, and it used to be my favorite show.
Come over here, babe.
Oopsie.
So now what I want to do is kind of look into this disconnection, and I'm actually going to start to pick at it and slice, and I'm going to start longer and just gauge how that texture is moving. So I'm not connecting, I don't want to connect. I want that space between the two techniques. So I've got a graduation on the underneath, and we've got a layer over the top. So it's a triangular graduation and a round layering technique through the top.
It sounds so good when you do that. It sounds so good.
It doesn't feel that great, I wouldn't think. But these scissors are super sharp, so we'll be all right.
Oh my gosh, I love that show.
What show?
Not gonna say it. Bleeps Creek. Even though it's spelled
Schitt's
differently.
Creek?
It's completely spelled differently.
Yeah.
That's what my grandma.
Well, that was nice of you to not say that word.
Yes. That's me, my mom, my grandma, my neighbor. We used to binge watch that.
Well, Eugene Levy's an absolute genius of comedy. One of my favourites. I'm going to be 44 in a few weeks here, and I grew up in the 80s, so Eugene Levy was absolutely massive comedian. Him and Rick Moranis together were so funny back in the day. So just kind of visually working in the length and stuff. I'm not going to go into this too much right now. I'm going to let it dry and do its thing. And then we'll come at it a bit once it's dry and I can start to work the fringe. It's a little bit too on the heavy wet side right now, so I want it to kind of do its thing naturally, dry. I'm not going to blow dry it, I'm going to kind of diffuse it and let the texture do its thing. We have more questions before we sign off, right?
Yes. They said what time next week are you gonna go live? And we usually do like three.
What's going on?
I don't know about that one.
You're doing something then. Yeah, we usually go on live around 3. It's never such a set time because Mee has to do her homeschool. But generally, it's a good time of the day to do it
Filter.
here in the States. I don't know if we'll go live every day, but we'll definitely be back next week doing a few of these for you guys. Let's see.
I don't know where the face swap one went though. That one was funny.
All right, guys. So thank you for joining us. We'll recap before I go away. Did a little disconnected graduation through the underneath, round concave layer through the front, and then disconnected choppy layer over the top of it. I'm gonna let it dry on its own, and then we'll do some kind of finishing work afterwards. Thanks again. Thank you, Mimi.